Hello and welcome to Schoolscape IT 2020 online day 4. So after feedback from our attendees after our last 3 days, which happened in late August, we had multiple requests to do a day 4 on specific topics. So we're really excited that we're here again with you today. What a pleasure to have you all online. And the big requests were in specific things like, how do we fund this technology that you're looking at, that you're showing us? So everyone got quite excited about it and then was like, where do we find the budget? So yesterday we ran for all the financial managers, but if you're a headmaster or an IT manager watching and you pioneering the procurement, please go see yesterday on the agenda. We did some incredible sessions with great tools and tricks and tips to help you with the challenge of funding your IT in this time. Yeah. Why don't you give us some pointers out of that?
Yeah, I think some of the things that stood out, Kranzig has got an internet provider that makes internet available for parents when they're collecting their kids. And then they sell the advertising on that as a revenue generator to fund the IT. So it's just an incredible way to give a service to the parents, but still show them an ad that can be monetized to cover an expense. And then Calling Academy, Werner shared a tip where he said, if you are going to companies to get them to donate IT products, he had this incredible tip. He said, don't go to IT companies, rather go to parents who might have larger companies and ask them to get their IT suppliers to sponsor. And he says it worked incredibly well. They stumbled onto it and it just really made a huge difference, and they had a huge amount donated. So you can jump onto yesterday's agenda and check any of those sessions.
Awesome. So today we have a jam-packed schedule. We have sessions with 2 UK schools, so we're looking a little bit broader than our context to look at trends and what's coming and how they're doing it, and so we're really excited about that. And then we have our very own Kevin. So he's our Schoolscape IT partner. He's incredible, and he's really doing some great stuff in Farramere primary school. He's also new there. Well, he's not so new anymore, but we're really excited about that session. If you want to win a case of wine, then you need to enter our passport competition. So all you need to do is visit 5 exhibitors, like them, comment in their chat and enter their deal offer or connect with them. We have some incredible suppliers. We have new suppliers on our exhibitor in our exhibitor list lineup, exhibitor booths. So yeah, you can go there, jump in, check them out. But yes, over to you.
Cool. So we first up have Warren Sparrow. So Warren used to be at Ronnebosch Boys, and then he went across to the UK. He's been in the UK for 4 years now. And in fact, he's written a book. He's the IT manager at a school just outside of London. And we have the session all prepped and ready. We had to pre-record it just for timing. So I'm going to dive straight into it. And I think is going to give some incredible insights into how well we are actually doing as South African schools. So I'm going to hand across now to Warren. Warren, welcome on stage. It's absolutely fantastic to have you here with us live. Well, recorded, I should say.
Thanks, Peter. Really excited to be here.
Brilliant. So, Warren, first question, just to jump straight in. You're the ex-IT manager from Ronnebosch Boys, so that's a school that most South African schools would recognize. You've been in the UK for 4 years. I think biggest question, how are South African schools doing in comparison to UK schools?
So the first thing that I'm going to show you is where I've actually come from, and I'm literally, I've come.
Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, apologies for the technical difficulties. We just had an issue with the screen. 1 second, we are coming straight back. Sorry about this, ladies and gentlemen. If you can just give us 1 second. He started so well, and then I pressed the button I shouldn't have pressed, and we ended up with one session coming through incorrectly. Sorry, one sec. He should be now coming back to you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live with Warren. Warren, welcome to the stage.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is just embarrassing, but we are nearly there.
Excited to be here.
So, Warren,
First question, just to jump straight in. I think we should be back. IT manager from Rondebosch Boys, so that's a school that most South African schools would recognize. You've been in the UK for 4 years. I think biggest question, how are South African schools doing in comparison to UK schools?
Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to show you is where I've actually come from, and I'm literally, I've come from Cape Town, which of course, the best surfers are all from Cape Town, and I'm actually in a little small school in Fleet, and the entire school only has 300 girls in the whole school, and although there's going to be so many differences between South Africa and the UK, there's actually a lot of similarities as well. So the first thing is, if I had to compare South African and UK schools, I would say that certain government and most private schools are actually giving their students a better quality of education than the UK state schools. On the other side, if I look at generally in South Africa, you're going to find that thousands of students in South Africa haven't been taught or haven't been given the correct education or teaching levels. And that's because of perhaps infrastructure, people, and training. And the schools that have done really well actually had all of this before we even started in lockdown. So unfortunately, the general government schools haven't done quite as well, but your former Model Cs and your private schools have done incredibly well, all right? When I look at certain things in the UK, there are things that have just done really well. And the reason why it's done so well is because there's a lot of UK government backing. Now, if, for example, I have a look at some of the statistics that have come in, the government has awarded £100 million to boost remote education. They have climbed on board with two of the biggest platforms for education, which is Google EDU and Microsoft Office 365 and Microsoft Teams. And they are giving free seminars and free technical support, and they're offering to get people into the schools to actually set this all up for you. The other thing as well is if you didn't have a laptop, the government gave away 202,000 laptops to some of your poorer families who couldn't afford it. And then lastly, there's 20 educational institutions where they have been given between 70 and 150,000 pounds to become demonstrators for how to use the platforms. So I think there's been a huge backing in the UK by the government to make sure that this actually works, and it works correctly.
Well, I think, Warren, the one thing that excites me there is just, it's great to know that our best schools, our top schools are competing with the best around the world. I think that excites me. And there's always hope for the rest of our schools that we can kind of get up to that level. Let me flip track and ask another question. So UK schools open up in September. So it's a bit of a different timing to our January start of the year. But your schools also were locked down for a period. How did you, as a school, handle remote learning?
Well, we were incredibly lucky because part of my mandate when I started the school was actually to make sure that we implemented Office 365 into the schools. So on the 1st of September last year, I did 3 training sessions with staff every week. And then after a little while as well, we then also did a one-to-one program with our older students, which would be from standard 6 upwards. Sorry, I've got to get back to my standards and not years, which is slightly differently. And then what I would also do is I would go and team teach with teachers in their classroom. And I always said the same thing. I don't know their software, and I don't know the learners as well as they will ever know it. I'm there to show them how to use the technology. I mean, the reality is I have absolutely no idea how to speak Mandarin. So when I go into a Mandarin class and show the teacher how to use the tech, yeah, I'm not teaching them Mandarin. I'm teaching them, how to implement Office 365, how to make it all work, and then Teams. So we had almost like a grace period of 4 months where we adopted Teams, we used it in our classrooms, and then of course, when lockdown did happen, well, we were some of the other things, of course, is there were so many companies, not just in the UK, but worldwide, that were giving away such good pieces of software for free for schools to be able to use. I mean, I at the moment have learned so many new things. For example, like Book Creator, which is a Windows app. We're currently using with our year 3s and 4s. I've never used it before, and suddenly, because it was now free, I started using it, and it's just become incredible. It's opened up so many different things. What we've also done is, during lockdown in the UK, we had a period where certain years could come back. And this became slightly quite good for us, because what happened was we could then determine how well, whatever we did, if we could make this work on a larger scale. So we then had 2 classes, each class was 15 girls, and we then allowed them to bring in their own devices. During this time, of course, we realized that using all different pieces of software, Mac OS, iPad, Windows, wasn't always the easiest thing to do. And we had problems with trying to print. Internet, not so much, although we've had to upgrade all of our internet lines just to make sure that we can now cope with the demand. And we've learned different things along the way. And to me, this is one of the key components is standardization. And I'm not going to promote one platform more than another one. But I do think if you're going to adopt something, try and keep it all the same. Our school during lockdown also came up with a couple of things, and what they've said is we are going to keep normal timetable, and that's exactly what we did. During lockdown, we kept our normal timetable, and if I had to teach a year 7 or a year 10 class, I would do that online just via Teams. We've done amazing things during lockdown. I mean, things that I wouldn't even have dreamt about. We've even done an online concert, which, as you can imagine, just wouldn't have existed, like 6 months ago. So it is part of the school's policy where we kept doing exactly what we were through the software, which obviously made it a lot easier.
Okay, I see bottom point there. You did a weekly assembly remote.
Yes.
I'm intrigued.
Well, we are actually so fortunate to have a theatre in our school, and we've always used the theatre. And what's happened is when we had productions, what would then happen is we would have parents or grandparents who wanted to see the production but weren't able to. And we then put this into place. And during COVID, we took this to obviously new steps. And as I've just mentioned, we've done live concerts, but we've also done many other things. And all we've done is we've used the systems that we have, and we've just used them and enhanced them. The reality is we used a specific piece of software, and we're paying about £250 a year. And the only reason why we still have the piece of software is because it's legacy. We paid for a 3-year contract, and this in fact is our last year. When we now look at this, however, we can do exactly the same thing through Microsoft Teams, which is obviously free. There's other pieces of software that we could use as well. I mean, built within Microsoft itself, you can share and record your screen and then edit it as well. So we could use something really simple like PowerPoint to, in essence, do exactly the same thing.
Wow, absolutely incredible. Okay, let's get a little bit more technical. You spoke about students coming back with multiple devices and that you believe in uniformity. What has your school chosen device-wise and why?
Right. So what we've done, and once again, I'm going to tell you that I'm actually platform agnostic, and there's certain things I would go, do you know what? Google Education, if you were in a primary school, to me, it's slightly simpler, and to me, it just works incredibly well. In a high school environment, I would say Microsoft, just because it has better functionality. It allows your students to be able to do more things in essence, okay? So what we've actually done is we've looked at all the different platforms, and we looked at the devices that we would like to give to our students. And we've decided to come up with a Microsoft device, Microsoft-based device. And it's a tablet which can also be written on. And this has become quite important because you being able to touch a screen to be able to draw, or to be able to do a math program, or to create a graph has become so important. Whereas if it was just a standard laptop, you would only be able to type, which, it doesn't always work. Of course, I can also, when I mark things, put circles around things. And of course, I can also then use my voice and record things, which has become so important because I can now mark something and go, this part of the year, and I'll circle it and say, can you tell me a little bit more about it? And I'll just record my voice. And this just creates another whole dimension as well. We did find that, as I mentioned earlier, during lockdown, when we had the BYOD, the problems that we did arise was because of all of the different platforms. And as I said, it's not about which is the best platform, but it's which is the best platform for your school. And once you've chosen a platform, my advice would be to keep that and don't change halfway through.
Okay, but that begs the question. So you've got all your students on one device now. I'm interested how you did that process, how you moved them all across to one device, and then how do you actually manage that? I'm just thinking for a lot of the IT managers out there, they are in the same situation and they're going, well, how do I get everyone onto one device, and then how do I manage that process?
Okay, all right. So what we've looked at is if we compare Google EDU and Google Office, there are certain things that some have an advantage over the other. I have been a Microsoft Innovative Expert Educator for the last 7 years. I'm also a Microsoft Certified Educator. So that to me has quite a big emphasis on what I would promote. What we've also done is the school has purchased quite a couple of devices over the years. And although we had a mixture of whole things, the older devices, like the iPads, which are coming to end of life, we've actually given to the juniors, all right? And the seniors in the school, we've now worked with Microsoft Office. With Microsoft Office, Office 365 Education, some of the platforms are free to schools, and we actually use the free trial, or so we use the free software, which is free from Microsoft. On the other side, Google EDU is completely free as well. So there's no cost benefits in you moving from the one to the other. I, however, believe that having Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, full versions is going to be somewhat better than the Google alternative, which is a slightly different reason or a different sort of platform. Is it the same thing? We're still learning exactly the same things. It's about pedagogy. It's about using the equipment that you have to enhance teaching and learning. It's not actually what device do you have? Is it better than another one? So, to me, we've gone Microsoft because A, was an MIE, but also the school took the decision on becoming a Microsoft school. And that's one of our aims, is within the next year to become a Microsoft Showcase school, which I'm really looking forward to as well.
And Warren, talk to me like practically now. So how do you actually manage these devices across the school?
So I do smile because there's obviously been a little bit of a rip off sorry, just give me a sec. Sorry, there's been a rip-off of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I have on the screen at the moment. And although it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, it does sort of depict our current situation, what do we need? We need battery life and we need Wi-Fi. I actually live on a farm and I don't have internet at home. So what I've had to do is I've had to go buy a dongle, and I've purchased a dongle which only has 50 gigs in a month. And although that sounds like quite a lot, you know, I could use 4 gigs a day if I'm streaming the whole day. So to me, Wi-Fi has become incredibly expensive. I'm currently paying £55 a month for 50 gigs. So that's just over R1,000 a month. So it is expensive. So we've got this connectivity issue, but because I live on a farm on the outskirts of you know, nowhere really, I'm not the norm. Norm is you staying in a town or a village, and most people have at home about 150 meg lines. Now, unlike South Africa, where your line is shaped, you know, you will have part of your line, perhaps 5%, might be international bandwidth, and the rest of it is local. In the UK, everything is international. So if you have 100 megs, you're literally having 100 meg international lines. And if I could get that at home, I'd be paying about £18 a month for a 100 meg line. Now, I do know what certain South African schools are paying for 100 meg international lines, and it's completely ludicrous. So from that aspect, you know, the UK has the infrastructure for the actual Wi-Fi. I also suspect that being in a girls' school makes life slightly easier to deal with things they shouldn't be on than boys' schools, okay? So I am going to tell you that I have been fortunate in that. But with regards to filtering, because we own the devices that we have given to the students, and the devices that we've gone with are Acer devices, which are on the screen, and I'm not promoting Acer at all, but we just found these to be slightly cheaper, but still have all the functionality that we wanted, all right? Through Office 365, we can monitor what the girls are busy doing. We can even filter what they're busy doing as well. And if you look at the Google EDU platform, Google, for example, on your Chromebooks, if you go into the admin system, you can, even with things off-site, you can do all of the filtering as if they were at home.
Wow. Tell me, Warren, these devices, do the learners take them home or do they stay at school?
Okay, so depending on their age, depends on where they're actually kept. So the older the students are, the more sort of flexibility we have with them, because what's also happened out of this whole lockdown is we've realized that we've moved more and more towards one-to-one devices. So all of our homework is now actually on Teams. So although we still write, and obviously that becomes very important, more and more things are just happening online. And as a result, you know, the students are going, well, if you're giving us homework, we need devices. We need to have these devices at home. And that's exactly what's happened.
Okay, wow. And practically speaking, how do you manage, because I know this is a big question with IT managers, just a device will break. It's got to happen sometime. What is your process? How do you think of that?
All right. So we've got a couple of things. We have, in essence, we've got 2 spare laptops. So if something does break, we can obviously just roll out another one very quickly. Depending on the school, different schools in the UK have different sorts of choices. So you could either, for example, buy the device yourself. If you buy the device, then the onus of insurance is on yourself. If something breaks, then you are responsible for replacing it. If, however, you purchase it from the school, we have contracts that if, for example, something goes wrong within 24 hours, that will be repaired or replaced. Of course, from the other side as well, sometimes the school purchases the laptops or the devices outright, and then it does become the school's onus to actually fixing everything. So our school has opted for the latter. And at the moment, we currently have different images that we have of all of our machines. So worst case scenario, if it's just a software issue, we can just re-image it, in a couple of minutes, which really doesn't take long. We have found, however, that we are employing more people to work on the laptops themselves. And what we've actually done, which is something that was brought to our attention, is we've now employed an apprentice, and through the apprenticeship program, he will then obviously, fix laptops and do those kind of things. But on the same side, he gets his form of education as well. So it's basically a win-win for the varsities, our apprenticeship who works with us, as well as ourselves, because we now have another person who can assist us with that.
That's amazing. So you actually have an extra set of hands that is just there if a device needs to be re-imaged or managed or swapped or worked on. It also just shows you the burden that is now falling on the IT manager, that it's with more devices, it's more time for the IT manager.
Completely. I don't think we've always had one IT manager at the school, and I don't think that physically it's not possible only to have one person to run an entire organization, which was always the case before. Because now that it's basically a time thing. There's not enough time in the day for this to actually work.
Warren, I think you've hit a big point at the end, and we're going to have to close with that. And I think it's just something for schools, if you are sitting in a place where you're looking at your team that is managing your IT, budget-wise, it is going to be a growing expense. There's no way to move device-wise and not have that in place. But Warren, thank you. I'm encouraged that some of our schools are doing really well. It's really exciting seeing what your school is doing, and I really hope the schools viewing this session got a better idea, just some tips and tricks of how you have handled things. So Warren, thank you so much. I know you are going to be on our conference platform. Is it all right if people have any questions, if they just ping you directly and message you through the platform?
Of course, no problem whatsoever. And thank you, Peter. It was absolutely brilliant to be here.
Brilliant. Warren, once again, thank you. We really appreciate your time. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. I think some really big points there that Warren shared. I love that last thing, just to reiterate that the responsibility on IT managers is just becoming more and more. Now it is my privilege to bring on stage, and Kevin, if you're there, you can jump on, is Kevin Steenkamp from Farramere. So Kevin has been helping us host the sessions. He's been answering lots of questions on different topics, and he is really just a passionate educator. His whole family has actually been in education, and he's going to come on and he's going to share what I think is a really, really relevant topic. Kev, if you are there, you can turn your camera on. Brilliant. So, Kevin, welcome. I believe you have lost your voice today, so let's just make sure we can hear you.
No, you can, Pete. My voice is good. Drinking lots of tea.
Brilliant. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to hand over to Kevin. As mentioned, he's the IT manager of Farramere. He was also the IT manager of Aston Manor, so he's got a lot of experience with schools. Kevin, the stage is yours.
Thanks, man. Listen, guys, thanks very much. Thanks for the opportunity to talk. Please excuse my very hectic background. I'm working from home today, so my office looks a bit messy. I'm going to go ahead and just share my screen here. Let's just share this over here quickly for you guys. And let's go and present. Okay, so my name is Kevin. My role in an organization or school is innovation. So it's tech, but it's also making it work in an environment. So a physical environment. So the actual classrooms that you sit in, a building. So today I'm going to talk about how you teach or what you teach with tech and the environment, the class. And the first thing I think I'd like us to talk about is separation from tech is bad. So separation from tech is not a good idea. And this basically means that tech and your traditional classes need to become one for the tech to be effective. You have to use tech in the classroom daily. Now, traditionally, what this meant is you used to have, we still do, we still have a period in the week where children would go to a computer lab and they would learn computers. Nowadays, the theme or the idea is that the teacher is now doing that incidental teaching in the classroom with the kids. So it means that the kids will come in and the teacher will say, okay, guys, open up Google Classroom, show me your homework, or do this test, or open up Microsoft Teams, go to this web address, go to this bookmark, open up this app. And then by doing this, the teacher is incidentally teaching these concepts and this lingo. And what this means is now your computer teacher can now, instead of focusing on Word and PowerPoint and Google and those types of things, the teacher can actually teach, the computer teacher can actually teach coding, robotics, computer science, and design, because the incidental learning has already happened. Okay, now, why am I talking about this? The teacher can only do this with the kids, this incidental learning, if she has the tools in the classroom. And also, if she's got the tools in the classroom, are those tools accessible? So is it easy for her to get to? Is it easy for the teacher to get to? If I'm a teacher and I'm looking for a plug for something, and I spend 5 minutes looking for a plug, it then starts to be time. Okay, the user must be happy. The child must be happy with the tech and how they get the tech. So the physical layout of where everything is. Then on the flip side, if we look at a technician, if the technician, the guy, the techie, or the person, the company, fixing repairs or fixing broken things, it's difficult for them to get to the repair, then the repair is less likely to happen and happen correctly. So buildings need to be, we need to rethink how buildings are, how they're laid out, and how tech can be implemented in the building in a practical way so that our teachers use it, so that the kids use it. It's a very important thing. Now, over the next 3 slides, you're going to look at me and go, Kev, this has nothing to do with tech, but it does. It really does have something to do with tech. And the first thing here is try and make your environment, your physical environment, light. So get as much natural light as you can in there. You know, and some of these classrooms, they're in dark, dingy areas, maybe at the bottom of the school, you've got tiny windows, maybe it was an old classroom. Then do what you can to lighten it up. You know, bring mirrors in there, repaint the furniture if you need to, get lighter bookcases, whatever you can do to make your classroom light. If it's light, if it's airy, if it's fresh, then when we give our kids those instructions, the kids are not going to fall asleep. And then on the other side, we need to be able to make this light classroom really dark. Okay, so ambience makes it interesting for the kids. You need to be able to darken the class when you need it dark. Okay, so there again, it comes down to the building. Don't think about blinds as an afterthought. When you build the building, think about, do we want roll-on blinds? Do we want blinds that close? Do we want electronic blinds? Do we want some sort of thing to dim the windows? So this all comes together when we talk about the physical layout of the classroom, because we're going to have to think about this. Sound. Sound is also something that is an afterthought. So we put a sound bar on after the fact. We think, okay, we need a sound bar. We'll just pop it over here on the table, or we'll just put it at the top of the board or underneath or something. We don't think about right in the beginning, where can we put the sound? So in all the classrooms, let's put the sound here. Why? Well, it sounds the best here. Your classroom is a theater. What we as teachers we don't know everything. We're not the temple of knowledge. We're actually glorified facilitators almost. So we're teaching, but kids are looking at us, parents are looking at us, and we are facilitators. We need to be able to facilitate effectively, and we can only do that if the building and the things that we have allow us to do that. Now, this is going to be a bit strange. I'm showing you an image here of, it looks like a house. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because I saw something like this in a class. I took a picture of it, but I'm actually not allowed to show you. So what they did in this specific classroom is they built the tables quite high. So they're actually quite high up, and the kids sit quite high. And then on the side, they've actually built these little cubby holes, and they put all their Chromebooks in there. So they put power in the desks. And the Chromebooks just slot in on the sides. So this means that kids have easy access to the Chromebooks. They can literally pass them around without leaving the desk. They can use that as textbooks, place to store textbooks. So it was a different way of thinking, but it's a clever way of thinking. So if you have the luxury of being involved in a new building or a building that's going to be renovated, then you need to have your say. Don't just look at it in the distance. You need to go and talk to them and say, listen, guys, how are you building this? Where are you putting the power? You need to ask them these questions. Then this is actually a statement from the University of Minnesota. They say, the environment can influence mood. For example, the results of several research studies reveal that rooms with bright light, both natural and artificial, can improve health outcomes such as depression, agitation, and sleep. And I believe that, guys. So if we have a good working space and the kids are not watching teachers fumble around for plugs and where to balance the laptop on top of files, then we bring the kids back into the learning. We can then encourage the kids. The kids are not falling asleep because they've got great sound. If I'm a teacher and I'm teaching geography or I'm teaching maths and I want to show volume in a waterfall and I show them a video of a waterfall, I can have a huge waterfall, massive sound that can blow these kids away. You're becoming a glorified facilitator. But again, I come back to, we can only do this if the teacher or the kids are not spending time getting these devices going, charging them, that kind of thing. Tech first. Work with your management team to ensure that they don't build a pretty space without thinking about the infrastructure for tech. Okay, so this means, and I'll give you a few examples. It means where are we going to put the plug points? Where are we going to put the power skirtings? Or do we need power skirtings? Where are you going to put the DB board for this room or these rooms? The switches, the access points, the projectors, the mobile boards. What are we seeing this classroom as? What's the big picture? What do we need in here? And then build the foundation for the tech in there. It needs to become part of the infrastructure. And I'll give you an example. A couple of years back, we go to a primary school, beautiful school. They built a magnificent media center. The media center is beautiful. It's fantastic. When you walk in, it blows you away. But they didn't give any thought to the tech. So it was an afterthought. They went and bought Chromebooks. And then by the by, they decided, we actually need to charge these Chromebooks. Where do we charge them? Do we get a charging trolley? Do we get a charging shelf? What do we do here? And in the end, they actually didn't have the budget for it because they'd spent everything on the room. So then it became a question of the teacher taking the Chromebooks to the back room to plug them in the evenings. So now we're talking 30 Chromebooks, using multi-adapters to do this, and it becomes messy. It just became, it doesn't look good. And it's not good for the teacher, it's not good for the kids. And what happens is, it's an afterthought, but you're using it every day. Mobile boards. What they did is they brought in a mobile board because the walls had no space for an actual interactive board. So they brought in a mobile interactive board, which works great if you've put thought into where this stands in the room. Suddenly the mobile board is too far away from a plug. Now we've got cables running across the floor. So when you walk into this beautiful library now, this beautiful media center, all you see is multi-adapters and plugs and cables. And it just detracts from the usage, from the teachers using that. You need to be a user. So you've got to go to these rooms. You need to look at what they are doing. So if you are in innovation, if you're in IT and you're responsible for this, go to the room when it's being used. Go to the room when there's a teacher there and when there's a class there. Sit in the classroom if you need to. Ask them, can I sit here? I want to see what you're doing. Let them change classes. See how they change classes. The physical layout of things. The physical where things are. How they plug in. Where they plug in. Do we have enough plugs? All of this stuff is very important. Too often have we seen rooms, beautiful rooms that have been made. And then the afterthought is, where does the access point go? And then they drill a big hole through the wall and you've got a cable lying somewhere. It's not good practice. It doesn't help the user. And if it's not helping the user, they're not going to use our tech. We want them to use the tech. Let's make it easy. The biggest issue with teachers is we don't have time. We don't have time. So as IT guys, we need to try and give that time back to them. Okay, be a teacher, be a student, figure out how are they going to use this space. Now, there's a picture of the broom on the screen there, because I'll never forget a couple of years back. I walked past the classroom window. I was doing rounds, checking on the classes, and there was a teacher with a broom switching on a projector. And I thought, what on earth are you doing? And when I asked her, she said she had lost her remote. She couldn't find the remote, but she's sure she'll find it. Guys, this happens more often than any of us would care to admit, especially with remotes. They lose remotes. Why do they lose remotes? Because there's actually no place for this thing. It's this little thing. We don't really use it often. We use it to switch it on and off. It goes in a drawer or a pencil box or whatever. We change classes and suddenly the remotes are gone. Okay? And it's because when we built the room and when we put the stuff in, we didn't give any thoughts about where does the teacher go with these little goodies, these little remotes and these little pens and all of this stuff. Is there space on the board? Is there space over here? So everybody's storing their things in a different way. And then you lose stuff. And we need to work on practical workflows and teach these teachers and teach the kids on how to use their environment effectively. Having a positive, fresh area for using tech in the classroom. Okay. So what's awesome about tech is we can use it anywhere. It doesn't have to be a perfect classroom. We can use it anywhere, but you do need to look at the building. Look at the building, maybe put something in the budget if you need to fix up all the plugs, or put something in the budget if you need to rather get wireless dongles or Chromecasts rather than cables. Look at something like that that makes it a little bit easier. Drive meaningful tech integration by providing the correct environment for people. Okay. Then look at the main idea, the idea needs to come before the tech. Okay, understand them. What is the teacher teaching? How are they teaching this stuff? How do we facilitate them better to improve the learning environment for the children? How do we make it easier for them? I don't want my teacher putting a laptop on a stack of files because it's going to fall over. I don't want the teacher swapping classes and now using somebody else's desk and there's no space for me to put my little soundbar that's maybe my personal one. Or I need to switch something on, but I can't find the projector remote. Well, I can't, or the board, the interactive board I need to switch on. The cable's not working lekker. I've got a video here. So I'm going to play the video. Before I play it, it may be a little bit loud, so you may just have to turn your volume down. And I hope you can see it. Have a look at the video. It's about a 2-3 minute video.
Seven years ago, the destiny of an eminent student, it was pretty bleak. We were only having about 20% of our students persist to a post-secondary degree, so that left the other 80% honestly in one of our factories in town. Our school was run down, enrollment was declining, our test scores had dropped. We needed to do something drastic in order to transform the school, which really ended up transforming the town. At Eminent Schools, we were doing 21st century learning in a 19th century building. It was really paramount that we create a facility that matched our philosophy. I am a 4th generation alumni of Eminent Schools. I know probably better than anybody how little money there is to go around. I wasn't an outsider coming in, passing a tax on people that I didn't understand. It was no small thing to ask the town to give up a little bit more to pull off this vision for these kids. The Ed Hub only exists because the Eminence community invested in the future of every kid that'll ever walk through it. They were willing to invest in us to pull off something unbelievable.
They see what's happening with their kids. They see the excitement and the skill set they're beginning to come home with.
The Ed Hub stands for the Experimental Da Vinci Hybrid Ultra Biblioteca, so it's kind of a fancy, newfangled library.
This is unlike anything I've ever seen. I mean, students don't just check out books, they check out tools. They use laser cutters to create the thing they actually drew in their notebook one day. Awesome. It's amazing to watch kids just flourish in an environment where there aren't any barriers.
The Ed Hub was designed to be the new heart of the school. We literally took the traditional hallway space, the same amount of square footage, and just made it a circular building so that all the rooms flow around the center of that space, the core, where all students, kindergarten through 12th grade, could use and utilize.
Okay, one more drop-off simultaneous. Go.
This building has about 30,000 square feet. It has 8 maker labs. They range from robotics to bio lab to a design thinking lab. It has a TV studio lab.
Not on the set, in 5.
And then it has a traditional power tool lab.
Let's double check that measurement.
I mean, the space itself is so open. Everything from just having windows, the ability to see in all areas at the same time, it gives that sense of community.
We want it to be 100% functional. Lots of the walls are movable, magnet, and writable surfaces.
So we have 18 and 30. It's divided by 2.
You know, the building's awesome, but it's the learning that's happening inside the EdHub that makes it really special.
None of shit. Okay, there we go. We got it.
It's transforming learning because of the collaboration skills that they learn. They're building, creating, designing, constructing, all the skills that you would use in the workplace.
We want them to feel like they're working in Silicon Valley or at a startup company. A lot of the ideas that we've developed were from the business sector that schools had never used.
I can remember the first time we utilized the giant screen, and it was just amazing to watch them kind of take ownership of such a large space. They felt like experts. In the EdHub, we see kids walk out knowing there are a lot more possibilities than they maybe knew about before.
What do you see now?
There's something powerful about setting a goal so big that there's no way you could pull it off. That's what our town did in the building of the EdHub. To watch a group of people come together and rally towards the impossible, and our kids have been a part of this change as well, and so it'll be exciting to see what their futures look like as a result of what they've watched happen here.
It's an awesome video, and I know a lot of us are looking at it and thinking, you know what, that's an American school. They've got a lot more money, they've got a lot fewer kids, they don't have as much crime. And we can go on and we can think of those excuses. But I'd like us to think of the buildings that we have, be they old or be they new, think how we can take tech and make it practical for the people using it within the building. And then any new building, any renovated building, put tech first. Put tech first and make that part of the infrastructure. So if you go back and you watch that video again, you'll notice on the walls behind the kids, they've got plugs, they've got HDMI little ports at the back, they've got a whole bunch of things that they can use in the event that they need them. And the kids really, they wake up and they enjoy it. They enjoy the learning. And what happens is you get more out of them. So if you are a successful innovator, if you're somebody in innovation, your job is to try and get people excited about it and move away from the negative connotation that some teachers have with tech, the word tech. From me, that's about it, Pete. I'd like to just say thanks, man. And I don't know if there's maybe any questions or anything that you guys have from your side.
Kev, I've got a simple question. The guy spoke about a big vision. Just from your experience, I think one of the biggest challenges an IT manager has is when they have a big vision is how do they get other people in on it? So one simple question, how do you as an IT manager or an IT decision maker bring the rest of the school along?
Pete, it's about first, you've got to win people's confidence. You've got to let them trust you. And people are not foolish. So if you are a lazy person, then this is not the job for you. You cannot be lazy. You've got to be there all the time. That means answering your phone a little bit later at night, a little bit earlier in the morning. That's what it means. You've got to be active. If you're an IT guy and you're sitting in the background and nobody sees you, nobody's going to know you're there. You have to draw people out of the shell, and you've got to make people know that it doesn't matter what you do. If you break it, you can't break it. Unless you physically damage something, you cannot break it. You cannot break it. Push whatever you want to push there, you're not going to break it. Let's stop teaching people the old-fashioned way. And however you get to the answer is great, and then go through those answers. You can also get to it this way, this way, or this way, or this way. You got to encourage learning and just, you got to be like that Duracell bunny, just persistent, continually persistent.
Cool. Kevin, absolutely amazing. I just think just so much kind of practical ideas and thoughts. Like I've never thought about where you put the remote for the projector. It's brilliant. It's so simple, so practical, but it makes a big difference. And I think your presentation hit it on those points. I think there's a lot of learning. So Kevin, thank you. Appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day, getting your voice going when I know you'd lost it this morning to share. So we really appreciate the effort. And also just a big thank you from the Schoolscape side. Schoolscape would not exist without your influence. It was you that originally sparked this idea a long time ago. So Kevin, thank you.
No, thank you, Pete. Thanks very much, guys. And I'd encourage people, you know, to go and look at the vendors and suppliers. Yeah, I've already used one or two, and they've helped me a lot.
Cool. Brilliant. Kevin, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, we've got something quite exciting. It's also coming from the UK, so we had to record it a little bit earlier. It's a short, sharp session for about 10 or 12 minutes from Anthony Peters. So Anthony is British. He married a South African. He lived in South Africa for a couple of years and actually taught at Parklands. He then went back to the UK, and he's been in the UK teaching at different schools. And he now actually teaches at the biggest online school in the UK that does all of their lessons online. But he's going to be talking about virtual reality and give some real practical ideas and thinking about how to incorporate it in your school and in your teaching. So I'm going to hand across. Hopefully this time I won't have any technical difficulties. So please bear with me.
In Oxford, England, working at as an English leader of learning at Interhigh. So it's the UK's leading online school. So I'm very excited to be here because we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, XR, which means virtual reality, augmented reality, mixed reality, and all of those things in between. And it's great to be able to share it with you. So if you look on the board, you've got a few of my students from last month experimenting with virtual reality, and it is mind-blowing. So I've got a few things just to go through with you today. So I'm going to work my presentation around these three questions. So why should we be thinking of using virtual reality in schools? How do you do this? And what tech is available to use? Now, I've only got 10 minutes, so I'm going to highlight a few of the ways that I use virtual reality and why we indeed should be using it across all subjects. And I'm actually going to rope in question 3 with what tech is available within. I'm going to embed that question within just to save a bit of time and hopefully share some wonderful things with you. I currently use virtual reality with years 7 to 12, so all the way across the board. So it's not just for the young people, those who thought it may be. Okay, so objective. So I use virtual reality to save time. So it's wonderful in that you flip the classroom and you get students to explore their learning and you get to truly immerse them within that environment. I love the idea that teachers don't have to talk from the front, because those who aren't as able need extra help. So if you are getting the kids to explore their own learning, first of all, it's far more interesting. And then secondly, you're freed from the front to actually help those who are more in need of you. And whilst the others who are more able can go ahead. So in terms of pedagogic value, it's invaluable within the modern day classroom. And again, I wanted to make English number 3, and I'll explain a little bit about that as we go through it. So engagement is so important. It is invaluable as an asset. People underrate the importance of engagement. They think it's sort of a advantage in teaching. If you have a student engaged, like this young lady here, there is nothing they will not do in order to succeed in the lesson. It changes the realm of the class. Dynamic. They are fully into this content that you're going through, and it's fantastic. I'll show you some examples of that in a minute. Number 2, there are unlimited possibilities. With virtual reality, you completely remove the ceiling of limitation. There's nothing you cannot create now. It's not just about what is available for students to use. You can create your own virtual reality and it's very, very accessible and is often free, which I think many people are not aware of. Number 3, in terms of memory processing, I use virtual reality because I'm big into research. I love research, and because research-based instruction really helps in the classroom. And in terms of long-term memory, it's fantastic at actually developing long-term memory, because the more you manipulate matter, more easily it's processed into your long-term memory, making it far more accessible when it comes to the time of exams. And then lastly, point number 4, as I said, engagement is important, but number 4, student grades are very important. So we know that from the education departments in any country, very, very important. And I've actually seen a minimum of 20% increase with students who've used virtual reality and those who haven't. So I'm going to explain some of the ways that I've used that as we go forward. So how do I use it? Well, there are many ways. So I'm going to focus on 3. I've left Ruby's face mask down there at the bottom, because VRI, I know many people like using the Google Cardboard. The VRI is actually another alternative, which is cheaper, and it's also better in a way because it cuts out the light. So when you are in the virtual reality environment, using a mobile phone, by the way, she's just slid her mobile phone in there, and she is in with that virtual reality environment. So the 3 things I'm going to focus on are descriptive writing. I used virtual reality for descriptive writing in English. The problem is it's very boring. Most students a picture, they get very, very tired, and they're just thinking, oh, now I've got to write about a descriptive essay using the 5 senses, figurative language like similes, metaphors, etc. But I'm not able, I've just got to look at this picture of a roller coaster, for example. Imagine all this stuff. Now, students, it's not terribly inspiring. They're future students. They've got all the tech at their fingertips. So I thought, right, let's utilize this more effectively. So instead of showing them a picture of a roller coaster, them on one, and it was quite easily done, actually. All I did was I purchased a number of Google Cardboards, and then they slid their mobile phones into the Google Cardboard. And because modern day smartphones have the panoramic feature, they have 2 degrees of freedom, which means they can look sideways, up and down, and that's an immersive environment. And the cheaper form of virtual reality is what I'm sort of focusing on today, to make it more accessible, hopefully open all your eyes to what is actually possible. It was incredible. So the students, they had to take it in turns. One of them had the headset on, the other one had to notate all the visual stimuli they were exposed to, all the sounds. And so they were actually, this peer learning was actually very, very nice indeed, and they really, really enjoyed it. So here's a little video, hopefully it'll play for you, show you an example of how that worked. So as you can see, it's full of energy, lots of excitement, and it changed the learning dynamic in a massive way. And again, the results showed, because they were managing to elicit and being able to elicit far richer vocabulary because they actually experienced it as opposed to just saw it on an image. Now, for you, those of you who are here, this is just to get you started. Now, if you're thinking, how on earth, where do I begin? You get students, or actually, I suppose you guys started. So you go onto YouTube, you type in, as I've put there, I've just hidden it behind a Google Cardboard. You type in or search VR 360 in the YouTube search icon, and then you'll be given a myriad of different virtual reality experiences to choose from. Click on one that you think would be appropriate for your subject. If, a few examples are on the left there, and then you click on the link, and then you're in there. If you want the students to do that, simply share the link on the board through a QR code or any other means that's appropriate for you. Now, the trouble is often with these lovely ideas of virtual reality, augmented reality, Apple and Android, as you can see there, have had a war that's been going on forever. So I wanted to use virtual reality, not just for descriptive writing as there, I wanted to use it for GCSE power and conflict poetry. Now, the issue we have there is students don't have an awareness of a war zone, firsthand. They can't imagine what it's like to be in a trench and, to be suffering, the exposure to the elements and all those sorts of things. So I took them on a virtual reality trench experience. Now, this app, I did a search for it in the Apple and Android stores, and it's there. So it went across platforms. So all the students did, downloaded the app, click on it, it takes them to the three-dimensional panoramic, slide it into the Google Cardboard, and off they go again. And in terms of the results, the context of poetry is so important within the British English curriculum. To appreciate the context, what were the intentions of the poet? Putting them into that scenario had yielded incredible results as an effect. It really worked tremendously well. The students were more interested. They could appreciate the horrors of war, and obviously they were fully immersed in it, and that gives them the whole holistic understanding of the concept, which is so important. So my last one that I'm going to share with you today. So students, they upset me greatly in the sense that they do not like Sherlock Holmes as much as I love it. So in this scenario, I created a 3-hour virtual reality workshop where I created, as we could start from the beginning, I went through the short story, the 3 students, all the dialogue from that text, turned it into digital avatars, put it in a Google folder, so that's the witness testimony, and then I created a virtual reality crime scene that the students had to solve on cross-matching the witness testimony. And it was really good fun. We did it on a Saturday because obviously it was 3 hours long. In terms of immersing the students within that genre, it was absolutely phenomenal. And here are just a few photos of that in action. So I had a whole of year 7 in the school hall for the 3 hours. It involved treasure hunts, code breaking, cipher analyzing. It encompassed lots of things, self-marking quizzes. You see a student there at the bottom with his mobile phone. That's the witness testimony, which was on his phone. So they had to go through it all, and it was incredible because the crime fiction is the highest selling genre in the world still. And so why not get students to solve the crime as opposed to simply reading about it, which many of them don't feel comfortable doing, because many people don't read as much anymore. But the results were absolutely mind-blowing. And again, their results in their examinations, their assessments, through the roof. We're interested in the content, really acted upon the stimuli that we were giving them instead of paging through it, although that's very important as well, but getting them to live it just to get that extra leap. So what I'd like you to do is just have a look at these 2 apps that I used for this. So Sketchfab, it's actually, if you Google it, it's a sort of a repository of virtual reality scenarios that you can explore for free. And I used that one on the right-hand side that you can see there. And so the students can either use virtual reality through their mobile phone. Some of them didn't even use the virtual reality headgear because they wanted to explore with their fingers and see where the clues were. So there's no limit to what you can actually achieve. And as you can see, there's Chapter, excuse me. That's how I digitized all the testimony. Just took a photo. It's a very simple app to use, and it's free, like so much of the content that is available. So I hope that has given you an idea of what is possible. And here's just a very short video clip of what happened in that experience.
So, gentlemen, who do you think did it?
Miles. I think it's Miles.
You think it's Miles? Have you got evidence to suggest what to support your thoughts? Okay. Good. So he has a motive. Very good. So you got your VR crime scene, all right? Good.
And he's also someone's obviously smashed the wall and not the table over.
Okay. Okay. So I hope that's told you everything you need to know about what is available to you. I'll stop sharing my screen, and I hope. Do you have any questions, or is that okay?
That absolutely blew my mind. I cannot believe the power of this. Tell me, Anthony, one very quick question. I see the kids in that last slide were using augmented or virtual reality without a headset.
Yes.
For schools that can't get hold of the Google or other things, if they just want to go straight on a phone, what are the options available?
Many, and there are hundreds, and it's all free. And I think this is what the misconception is with virtual reality: is there's so much in the cloud waiting to be accessed. Free, like Sketchfab is free, the VR, YouTube 360 are free. And again, they don't have to just scroll with their fingers. If you you just double click on it, they'll move. The view will move in 2 degrees of freedom as you move the phone. So it's so exciting, I can't tell you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, sadly, that is all the time we have with Anthony. That absolutely blows my mind, just the power of it. Just that he mentioned he saw a 20% increase in student grades just with that engagement, and I get that, I can understand that. So even though Anthony will be available on the Hoover platform. I know he's going to be popping in and out to watch stuff. So if you do have a question, Anthony, can people directly message you through the platform?
Yep, absolutely.
Brilliant. Anthony, once again, thank you. We really appreciate your time. And all right. A big thank you to Anthony. We are now going to hit our next session, which is called our Lion's Den pitch. As Kevin pointed out, there's some incredible companies doing amazing things within schools, and we want to use this as an opportunity to introduce you to some of these companies, and we're going to make them work hard for it. They each are going to have 7 minutes where they're going to pitch at you in like a Dragon's Den style, but we call it the Lion's Den. So I'm going to invite our first speaker up, which is Sky. Sky, if you'd like to come on stage. Let's see if you are there and ready. So, brilliant. While Sky's coming on stage, Sky is from Compute Corporate Technology Solutions. And Sky, you can turn on your camera. Brilliant. There we go. Sky, I'm actually going to move off screen. I think you're going to be able to explain what you do way better than I will be able to. So the floor is yours. You are our first Lion's Den pitch, and you have 7 minutes. Over to you.
Perfect. Thanks, Peter. I'm Sky. I'm really excited to be here today to talk to you about some of Compute's favorite education offerings. I'm going to be going through a whole lot of things in a really short amount of time, so hold on to your eyelashes and feel free to post any questions in the Q&A box, and we'll get to them. So Compute has been supporting education in South Africa since 1995. To this day, we're still the go-to company for Microsoft solutions. It's great to see so many of our clients on the app, part of this event today. Providing networks, hardware, and software solutions for so long to so many schools has enabled us to provide the best solutions available. Some of our favorites, Microsoft, NetSupport, and Epson, are all world leaders in their respective fields. We always strive to bring the best the world has to offer to South African schools. Talking of the best, I just want to share my screen quickly.
There we go, we got it.
Great. NetSupport software has been innovating since 1989. Their software's NetSupport School is a multi-platform classroom management solution. NetSupport has also very quickly adapted to the new realities brought on by the global pandemic with their release of something called Classroom.Cloud. Classroom Cloud consists of essential tools to support blended learning, super easy to set up and use. Classroom Cloud is a fresh and innovative classroom-based teaching and management platform, providing the essential tools for classroom and home-based teaching and learning. This makes the perfect solution for delivering blended learning in any environment. Classroom Cloud is actually a cloud-based adaptation of NetSupport's award-winning school software, which is a complete classroom management and instruction solution. In our opinion, the perfect combo of NetSupport to support schools, especially during this time, is the combination of NetSupport DNA, NetSupport School, and Classroom Cloud. Because our students today are the first generation of true digital natives, they're happy to embrace the new frontier where the boundaries between education and technology is seamless. Delivering outstanding lessons, managing the IT estate, safeguarding students, or simply maximizing the use of the school's technology investment is far from easy. NetSupport DNA delivers a truly unified solution, allowing schools to leverage their technology and help drive up student outcomes. NetSupport DNA transforms your IT staff into everyday superheroes. It combines IT and network management and teacher-centric classroom management suite and safeguarding into a single affordable solution that is underpinned with proven reliability and outstanding customer support, which is really helpful to all of us. From tracing your IT estate, identifying hardware updates, managing software licenses, and dealing with daily issues, DNA is always there to help. It proactively monitors your networks, PCs, and even SNMP devices. It alerts to potential issues and is jam-packed with time-saving admin tools, from market-leading remote control, a remote PowerShell, through which, as well as easy-to-use software deployment tools. USB, power and print management, application and internet control, as well as full user management are all included as standard. Everything in NetSupport DNA is designed to help save time, reduce school costs, and increase operational uptime. Teachers have very different needs to an IT team, so uniquely, DNA includes a separate UI packaged with teacher-tailored features, including real-time assessment and questioning tools, monitoring and collaboration features, digital learning journals, virtual whiteboards, and so much more. DNA takes safety to the next level by delivering features to protect students from activity that could place them at risk. It monitors for online grooming, cyberbullying, radicalization, self-harm, and much more. DNA safeguarding superpowers were developed with specialists for specialists. At its heart are state-of-the-art neurolinguistics aligned with the most accurate keyword detection algorithms available. Critically, alerts don't flood staff inboxes, but they selectively build word clouds to identify trends. Topics of greater concern trigger screen and video capture evidence alongside instant staff notifications. As part of its safety responsibility, DNA also includes features for students to report their concerns to staff. So if you want a solution that is proven, cost-effective, and guaranteed to help your school support innovative teaching and learning and keep your students safe, then NetSupport DNA is here to help save the day. I think I can stop sharing my screen. On our journey of supporting South African schools, we have identified that alternative power solutions are often a requirement for schools. Without a reliable power source, even the most sophisticated tech solutions fall flat. Compute provides solar power for cost savings and for backup power resolutions. We have schools currently, no pun intended, saving in excess of 100,000 rands in electricity bills per month, with a rental cost of less than 15,000 rand per month for their solar systems. So please let us know if you know of a school that would benefit from this kind of saving. Thanks for listening in. I'm sure my time is running out. Please feel free to pop in for a live Q&A session with our CEO after the Lion's Den sessions. You can find a link to that on our booth. If you have any other questions, please go to that and visit our booth. And also, you will be, if you purchase, all the delegates here today, if you purchase NetSupport School, you will get a free NetSupport DNA license for every NetSupport School license you purchase. So do get in contact.
Brilliant.
I hope that wasn't too quick, too much info.
Perfect, Sky, you did so well and perfect timing. So Sky, thank you. Next up, I'm going to invite Kirsten. I see she's already starting to share a screen. So Sky, thank you so much. People, please hop onto the exhibitor profile to check out. I think saving 100,000 is phenomenal. Next up, we have Kirsten from Book Talk. So Kirsten was there a second ago. Kirsten, are you in the background? All right, let's see if we can find Kirsten. So I think Kirsten is going to be presenting from Book Talk. And what's interesting is what she is going to present, I saw, is actually used by 43,000 schools and libraries worldwide. So that is absolutely amazing. So this is a trusted product. Brilliant. Kirsten, you are back. Welcome. The floor is yours. You have 7 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. In these extraordinary times, the value of the e-book and the digital library has never been more fully recognized and appreciated. Open 24/7, 365 days of the year, the service offers safe access to reading material, whether it be for learning, for general knowledge, for class assignments, for research, to satisfy curiosity, for leisure, or for entertainment. So I'm delighted to have this opportunity of giving you a brief overview of eBooks Now, South Africa. It's been developed specifically for South African schools and offered by Overdrive, the leading platform for digital content delivered to 43,000 plus schools and libraries worldwide and still growing. eBooks Now, South Africa is a shared collection. It is contained in a digital e-lending library for signed up schools and their students or learners to enjoy. The titles are chosen by educational experts. Let me go on to the next slide. The titles have been chosen by educational experts based on exclusive data into the most popular reads among students. The focus is on South African authors and curriculum support. Classic and internationally popular titles to support required reading, classroom use, and future-focused learning. I'm showing you all the benefits. I'm not going to go through them now. You've had a chance to read them. Time is very limited, so I'm going to the next slide. Now, students have an option to have
Kirsten.
up to...
Sorry,
Yes?
Kirsten, to interrupt you. Your slide is not showing at the moment. Sorry. If you just want to press pause on your time, and let's get that slide up. Sorry about that.
Pause on my time? Just where pause
Don't
on
worry.
my time?
That's okay. We'll press pause.
Thank you. But you now, what can you not see?
I can just see you and me. So if you click share screen at the bottom.
It's not coming up.
Can you see the?
Sorry, I'm not seeing my share screen coming up. All right, sorry, it's not coming through. Oh, there we go. So have I got to share screen with everyone then? Have you not seen this?
No, sorry, I thought you were still pulling it up and then I worked out, Tony, you were talking to the slide. So my apologies.
Okay, no, that's fine. Have you got that one?
Yeah,
no,
there we go.
Do I have to do it for every slide? I should have got it for every
no, it will now show. If you just
so this is the
press the wine glass at the bottom, it will go full view.
Sorry, where
there we
is
go,
that?
yeah.
Oh.
Just down
Okay,
to the
have you
right.
got
You haven't clicked on it yet.
Sorry, I'm just seeing where I've got to click onto. Which have I got to click onto?
Yeah, that one.
Okay, have you got that?
It's fine. It's actually not, no. You pressed on the wrong one. The wine glass one. Ladies and gentlemen, please bear with our.
Yeah, that's the one I related to. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
sure. All right, so now. So this is basically what eBooks Now is. Did you stop the time? Have I got extra time, or how does this work?
Yeah, you've got extra time. So you had used 2.5 minutes. So you've got 4.5.
Okay. So we're now going on to the diagram of eBooks Now. So you've got various schools. They all tap into the collection, the main collection, and they have access to that. The collection is managed and by Overdrive, and it is stocked by Overdrive, and that's really important. So you've got cost benefits, you've got professionally managed, you've got holds management, you've got new releases added, and you've got the Sora merchandise. And Sora is the Overdrive app designed specifically for students to access, and it is an award-winning app. Now I'm going on to the, sorry. So we've now, are you now seeing this? Have you got the loan limits and lending periods?
Correct. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. So students can have up to 3 titles at a time. They can put their name down for 3 titles, holds, and it's a 14-day lending period. So after 14 days, the title goes back. There are options to renew, but it's also up to the student to watch the time. So time management does come into it. The Sora features are numerous. And this is all part of this award-winning app. It's not just about reading, but it's also about being able to take notes, to export highlights, to read or listen offline, to earn achievements, and that's quite fun. That makes the reading element quite competitive. And you can add a public library, and you can view reading stats, and you can read with a tab. And then the benefits to e-learning in education are quite immense. Cost-effective, convenience, learning styles, in-app features, summer reading. I'm pushing through this because I want to give you an outline of the extent of the service. It's not just about reading, but for comprehension as well. And now we've also got reluctant readers. So getting onto digital, it's already appealing to reluctant readers. It's starting to be fun, and it depends, you know, what you direct your students to encourage them to read. And so that is a very, very brief overview. Now, I just want to stop sharing for a moment, and I want to go on to, let's start the next one, and then we go on to eBooks Now. So that was a brief, sure, okay.
We've got your screen.
This is,
yeah,
you've got your screen. Okay, so this is the home page. So when the student signs in, the student will see he's got his own authenticated number, which is his unique number for accessing, his or her, for accessing the service. So you've got assigned books here, you've got loans, this is your home page, you've got books you've recently defined. So there's a dictionary facility, and you can look these words up, and this is marvelous for the teacher, because the teacher can start seeing not only that the student is reading, but also actually digging in, getting to grips with comprehension. You've got recent notes and highlights, so the teacher might have set some questions, and so give the reason why the children were scolded. So even the children, so I know that when I read the book again, I can go back to that point, and I can start expanding on that. And it's all to do with comprehension, and that's what we're trying to achieve. We're making readers out of children. Then we've got the Explore page, which is primary school reads. So these are in the collection, and at the moment, the collection started with 350 titles. It's now grown to 1,500 titles, and as more and more schools come on, so it keeps growing. So you've got, these are the different subjects that are contained within the collection. You've got secondary school reads. You've got Overdrive curate the titles to make it fun. So it's not just a wallpaper, and they keep changing it. So it will just be appealing to the children, and they never get too familiar with it because they can seeing different titles all the time. And now we're going on to the bookshelf. So this is my bookshelf. This is what I've got out at the moment. So I can open Big Nate, and I can see, I click on here, and I turn the page, and I'm into the book already. So
Kirsten, just so you are aware, you've got 30 seconds left.
Right. Okay. So this is the, we'll leave that one. We'll close that one, and I'm just going to go to the last spot on eBooks Now, and that is your achievements. So you get awards for all your achievements, your reading achievements, and your fellow peers will say, but I want those awards. I want to get so clever as this this person. So you can get more awards for reading. So what I wanted to say to you, all our contact details are at our exhibitors booth. Do share your details with us if you would like us to make contact with you. We are we've got a raffle running where there are some audiobooks on CD, which we will be sending out to the winners. And we're also running a Zoom meeting between 4:30 and 5:30 this afternoon for anybody who would like to know more, because we're going to do the presentation in more depth so that you can, and also so that you can ask questions. Thank you very much indeed for your time.
Brilliant. Kirsten, thank you so much. I have to admit, there's a couple of books there that I think I could quite easily read. So please check out Book Talk. For those that might be streaming in live from YouTube, booktalk.co.za. You can also get the information. So Kirsten, thank you so much. We appreciate your time. I might be contacting you to get a couple of those sessions. And next up in the lion's den is our third company, is Comsol. So I can see, Justin, you have jumped on stage. If you want to pop on your video. And then I think the cool thing is, in one of our sessions that we ran previously, you would have remembered Leo Stagg talking about this company. So Justin is going to give us an overview of what Comsol can do. And I think Leo is going to be jumping in at the end also to give a comments. So Justin, you have 7 minutes. I know, well, it'll be about 5 and a couple for Leo. So over to you.
Peter, thank you very much, and good morning to everybody. Yeah, I think 99% of I suppose the webinars are going to be around content and learning methodologies and aids. And I think what's very, very important with that is just the concept of educational agility, which Comsol lives by. Besides us providing infrastructure to many schools and tertiary educations, we also a lot of us are parents, and I think a lot has happened in the last 5 months around getting to grips with remote learning. And we've really embraced the connected learning concept as Comsol, and really there's a whole lot of views on it, and we believe that Comsol is really well placed to enable the connected learning experience, or if you want to call it the blended classroom or the blended learning experience. And we really believe that you need to create a new ecosystem of technology within your schools, your campuses, so that all stakeholders can benefit from technology, but also outside of the pandemic and COVID. Very importantly, if somebody is ill, or if somebody, I was chatting to somebody this morning and saying, one of my kids have got lice, but at least they're at home and they can still enjoy remaining on top of their education and learning, and that for us is really important. So we subscribe to it. We believe technology is there, and the irony about technology, and I think the conflict that we as parents have to a large extent is how much is too much screen time. But at the end of the day, we got to just manage that. And I think the first speaker, spoke about mechanisms to contain and control, because that's very, very important. So with that, just a little bit about Comsol. So we've been around for 22 years in South Africa, and really education has been at the core of our CSI initiatives for many, many years, and we've got hundreds of references in terms of providing connectivity to schools, both private and public, and it's really around high-speed internet access, what we call robust campus distribution networks, world-class Wi-Fi, and in particular Wi-Fi 6, because you don't want your Wi-Fi network at your school being the constraining component in your user, stakeholder, and visitor experience. We've integrated IoT solutions into our solution as well. So not only are we there to create a platform for learning, but we're also there to create a platform for the school to manage its infrastructure, its assets, and really become a more efficient school or campus. Value-added services on top of that in terms of analytics, and then very importantly for the school stakeholders is you want the visibility management and control of your infrastructure. Just to hop straight into what we did for St. David's, I think that's very, very important. So Leo really asked us to deliver a modern communications network that could really enable the school's ambition to have a world-class infrastructure, and probably, in my opinion, is probably one of probably the best school in South Africa in terms of infrastructure, speeds, and end-user experience today. They were looking for a robust, multifaceted infrastructure, and also leveraging existing infrastructure if it was there to incorporate it, so that it's not a brand new installation. And very importantly, and this really was the nub, was we've got 1,300 individuals at any point in time on the campus, over 2,500 devices, and theoretically, if we had to, we want all 2,500 devices to connect simultaneously and be able to enjoy a good end user experience again. So we refreshed the entire network, whilst also maximizing the existing usable infrastructure that we incorporated into the solution. I think that's very, very important. Just a high-level view. You can see the red line is some fiber. The green lines are distribution fiber with distribution wireless networks, and all the little green pins are the 140 odd access points that we installed in the school, all uniquely labeled. We know exactly where they are. We know exactly what analytics to run on them at any point in time. So Leo theoretically has all the visibility management and control that he needs to once again run the school's facilities, and take it from there. The benefits, it's an integrated resilience infrastructure, world-class end-user experience. It allows stakeholders to study anywhere, anytime, and I think that's still a concept that we need to grasp. We've effectively created this EduSmart platform, which is always on in the St. David's world, and really derived economies of scale, and not forgetting that education is competitive. IoT, very important. We can monitor how many schools or assets are in a specific area. There's geolocation fencing. Has somebody breached a virtual fence? Control your utilities, whether that's water, electricity, cricket pitch moisture, etc. And very importantly, what we've currently done with Covert is there's a proximity example where kids can wear bands, and if kids get into 1.5 meters of one another, an alarm goes off. So we can also manage that as part of the asset management component that we have created. Rushed through it because I think the most important person on this presentation is Leo. And Leo, thank you for your time once again. Thank you for your support, and I hand over to you.
Thanks, Justin. I assume you can all hear me okay? Cool.
Leo, you're a bit soft. If you can just speak a bit louder. Sorry, we're battling.
Sorry, all right, I'll talk up. I'll speak up. Let me take it off. It might be the headset is the problem. Can you hear me all right now?
Now we got you loud and clear. Thanks, Leo.
So can I share my screen just very quickly? And just to go on exactly what Justin, how's it, Justin, by the way? Can you see my screen all right?
Yeah, we got it.
All right, so this is from, as Justin pointed out, I've known ComSol now since 2013, when they did my installation at Clifton Prep School in Nottingham Road, where I had the same requirements. I needed students to be able to go anywhere on the campus and access the internet using their devices. And when I came to St. David's, I had exactly the same requirements. We had to do a full rip and replace. We had to replace all the technology in the school. It was old, it was out of date. And after spending a bit of money, we were successful. COMSOL and I came to an agreement on that. I wasn't going to pay them until we were able to make sure that there was 110% coverage of wireless across the campus. And during the month of August and September last year, we did a lot of testing. We made sure that all the children went out, did speed tests on it. And yeah, we were very, very pleased with the results. Obviously, from a breakout point of view, we've got an 8 gig per second breakout, and we hit about 5 gigs per second quite regularly. And you can see at the moment, I've got 964 clients, wireless clients currently connected to my network. And this little window here, you can see where the density is and where I've got issues. So for example, here, I've actually got 2 access points offline. It's because we're doing work down at the swimming pool, so they're not offline because there's a bad install. But it does give me a very nice overview to my network. I can see where those APs are and what the issue is with that AP. That's done at our swimming pool or at our tennis courts at least, and I can see that that's offline. And it's very, very important for me as the administrator of the system to know where I might have bottlenecks, where there might be issues with connectivity, and also how many users are connected to a specific access point. So here I can see there's 1 client here, but over here I can see there are lots of clients, and I can also drill into this. I can go and see in here what latency I'm getting, if I'm getting any latency. I can also go and have a look and see who the clients are, what devices they're using. I can see their MAC addresses. This is very, very powerful information to have as a network administrator or as a systems admin or director. If you have some idea of what's going on your network, if someone's reporting any kind of issues with, it's slow or whatever, I can come here very quickly and I can have a look and see, well, why is it slow? Where is it slow? What are the children doing? What are they accessing? And we've had a huge success with this. One of the things that we've got sitting on.
Leo, just so you know, you've got 30 seconds left. Sorry.
30 seconds. So thank you. We've also used Linkify. I think we're the only school in South Africa using Linkify. It's a guest network which sits with this. And what Linkify does is it gives me an extra overview as to how many guests are on our system. You can use this as well as a guest system, but Linkify is what we use in conjunction with this. It's very, very powerful. And we can have 2,500 people on our system at any given time with no network latency, no issues at all. So well done, COMSOL. You guys did a fabulous job.
Thanks.
Brilliant. Gentlemen, sadly, that is your time. I think if you would like to reach out to COMSOL, you can check for them and the attendees list or as the exhibitor, if you can look for them, or you can also just Google them, COMSOL, COMSOL. And I know Leo's been answering a lot of questions from his previous presentation, and I know he's always willing to help. So Leo, thank you also for just stepping in and sharing. Makes it just super relevant for the other schools. Justin, thank you. We appreciate you taking part in the Lions Den pitch. And there is our final pitcher, has just come in. So I would like to welcome Paul from Parrot Products. Parrot is a name we all know exceptionally well. And I always get amazed by just what they actually have to offer. So Paul, I think you're going to be able to do a better job than I will. So floor is yours. You have 7 minutes.
Beautiful. Thanks, Peter. I hope everybody can hear me fine and the screen is up and running. Here we go. So I think to start off with, it is 7 minutes. It's not a lot of time to really get across what the value is that the organization can add, especially one like Parrot Products. I see a lot of the other Lion Den members also struggle to get through it. So I'm going to try and slim it down. And the crux of the situation is that the digital age has arrived. The whole topic of this event was digital, digital, digital. This is something that's been around for many, many years, but I think the COVID pandemic really exacerbated the situation. And what used to be considered a luxury has really turned into a requirement now. It's a mandatory element for any educational institution to be successful. There's an extreme amount of stress on all the stakeholders involved. And I think there's an amazing initiative that's being put forward, whether it's software, hardware, or even solutions-based, that I've seen myself also through attending this event. From a Parrot Products perspective, we align ourselves more in the distribution and servicing side of that. And we obviously service and support the educational market through a wide range of dedicated partners, some of which will actually be part of the panel as well, that's delivering some of our products or services. And I think the core that we want to get across with this is, as we've moved to the digital age, and as it is a requirement now to really embrace this, our range of hardware where we specialize in, and our ability to prep solutions and support through partners and vendors is what really sets us apart and makes us quite a powerful brand nationally, as we can service across the entire South Africa and other countries. And one of the key points that we want to address in this Lines Den session is really the query of this, okay, what am I doing here? I've got a lot of concern on my face. That is essentially where I'm confused as probably an administrator of a school organization, or even a teacher. That is the experience that we've had over the last couple of months, with a lot of feedback coming in, questions being asked. And that's what we want to open up this platform for, is whether you're viewing this through a YouTube channel or whether you're going through HOA and actually going and logging onto our profile where we have a poll for a prize to run. We don't necessarily want to pitch a specific product. We want to open up our doors and welcome you in to make use of our services, to actually come and understand where you are struggling with moving to digital, what concerns you are struggling with, and then for us to, in combination with our partners, prep essentially a solution that could service and hopefully address your concerns. Some of the questions we were hearing, and it's quite a predominant thing, is a teacher will ask, where am I teaching? Am I at school or am I at home? And the reality is, it is both. And that is what's really adding to the flux of the situation, the stressors on the education environment. And as teachers are really trying to get a fay with what they're supposed to do now to actually deliver their service, which is education, to their pupils in an effective manner, that we can, one, catch up what we've lost, and two, grow on top of what we're able to build right now. The other one is also, where am I teaching? And that's the physical situation. And some of the other participants have pitched both hardware, infrastructure, and software, and that's a culmination that goes into that, where we would also slot in some of the peripheral devices. Am I teaching to pupils that are in a class right now, or am I teaching to pupils remotely via Skype, Business, Microsoft Teams, Google Meet? There's a variety of options available. Net support, one of the offerings we also do. And I think the thing here is, there's no single product that addresses these questions. It's quite a unique approach from teacher to teacher and school to school that needs to be addressed, not just from a budget constraint, but also an ecosystem and infrastructure. So we want to dive it right down to the bottom of this, and it goes down to the basic here, which is the move to digital. The first step for this new COVID or post-COVID era is going to be that your content needs to be digital. A lot of people have been, and teachers specifically has embraced that methodology in the past, but now they're really required to do that. And we've got some exciting products. We've just launched our document cameras or visualizers. That is an instrumental part with converting or transforming physical element, whether it is books, whether it is writing under it, whether it is 3D animations or objects that you want to discuss, into a digital format that you can then either right now here share via video conferencing, or after the fact, if your ecosystem doesn't allow for it, interact and collaborate with your pupils and other teachers over wire when you have that flexibility. So that was one of the elements we really want to bring forth. This is something that's quite mobile, that's beneficial both in a classroom setting as well as a home classroom setting, to start that process of really digitizing your content. And also sometimes it's not just digitizing it, it is taking that physical element and streaming or capturing it in a digital format that other people can essentially embrace. So it's relevant for presentations, capturing documents, incorporating 3D models, and then both dedicated free software. We're an organization that really embraces the free software, no licensing aspect. User functionality is the core of all of our items. So we really embrace a plug and play methodology onto a Windows ecosystem and a compatibility with the Mac side of things. When we move on more into a more formal setting in the classroom setting, our range allows us to potentially spec up to 70 to 90 different solutions, whether it's cables, adapters, projectors, screens, interactive whiteboards, interactive LEDs, web cameras, all kinds of these things can go into the solutions. And our experience has taught us to really, again, narrow that field, really assist the clientele and the users with ease of use. And we've come up with, call it your EduSmart solutions, like we like to call it, your bronze, silver, gold. It's pre-spec type of solutions that facilitate a need within a classroom at a variety of different budget constraints, utilizing or leveraging certain functionality. And this is, again, where we want to open that door and say, make use of our dedicated call center, make use of any one of your vendors that might be actually one of our resellers and query about the Parrot products interactive range. One of the core values that we have as we almost come to an end here is our service delivery and support, which we really pride ourselves on. We believe in providing the products, but backing it up with support, whether it's pre-sales, during sales, or after sales. And this is not just specific to the reseller network. This is a lot to do with the consumer as well. It benefits both the partner that was brought into the school or the school brought into us, as well as the user, to make sure they leverage the investment they've made. We facilitate free demonstrations, free site inspections nationally. So a big part of this is speccing a solution, understanding a requirement, and we want to make it as easy as possible for organization to get our expertise involved for us to understand their story so that we can put the proper proposal together. During the installation with our vast distribution network, we can really move around and facilitate any area within Southern Africa and other countries as well. So for some of the school groups, that is a fantastic value when it comes to standardizing and supporting according to a standard as well. After sales, we ensure that on our devices, we provide free induction training to assist a user to actually get familiar with the specific product and configuration they've got. We've got dedicated trainers, so this is not sales agents that does the training.
No time, sadly, is up if you just want to close off.
Not a problem, but that came to the conclusion then. I thank you for the opportunity as well, Peter.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thank you, Paul.
I think I was just looking at some of that tech there going, oh, I'd love to play with some of that. So Paul, thank you. If anyone wants to connect with Paul and Parrot, please jump across to their exhibitor profile, or obviously you can find them online. They have a lot that they can help your school with. So that then brings us to the end.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you being online with us for our final little stint of Schoolscape IT 2020 online. We're certainly hoping to see you back in person, each one of you in 2021 at a physical event. But yeah, we want to remind you to please to win that case of wine, to pop over to the exhibitors, like them, take their deal and offer, chat to them. All these little things will put you in good standing to win that case of wine. And a few other little secret prizes we have to give away, donated or sponsored by the exhibitors. So yeah, what else?
So Digital Generation is giving away 10 LED lamps. So if you visit their booth, you can get that. We're also going to be sending some polls. So if you answer one of the polls, you also stand a chance to win one of those LED lamps. And the cool thing is they actually have a cell phone charge at the bottom. So watch out for that. And then if you missed yesterday's sessions and you would like to watch them on just raising tech and funding, you can do that in the agenda. If you are streaming from YouTube, you can also just look on the School Advisor YouTube channel and you'll be able to find those sessions as well. So that is us. Please feel free. The topics, the conversation topics are still going to be open. So if there are topics you want to get involved in or chat, please do. We are also going to be giving one of those lamps away to the best topic comment of the day. So we're going to be looking in those to give one away, and we appreciate you taking the time out. We hope we gave you tips, tricks, tools that can really help you as you move the IT in your school forward. So thank you.
Awesome. And goodbye.
Cheers, everybody. We appreciate your time, and yeah, have a great day.